Makuta, your reign of shadows ends here!
Easy to say to our light.
Ooh, I feel some sports coming on.
Before 2003, the storytelling of Bionicle was vague, and that's being charitable. A story told not just through games, comics, and animations, but through play. So what happens when you take that hodgepodge narrative with so much room for imagination and Oh God, what is that?
Good Lord, what is happening in there?
Aurora Borealis?
That's it?
No.
Hi, I'm JettKuso, and if you haven't seen him yet, you might as well watch my last 2 Bionicle videos linked up in the corner and in the description, all about years 1 and 2 of Bionicle. Because for the duration of this video, it is 2003, we're all 5 years old again, and we're looking at the 3rd year of Bionicle toys and the movie that ties it all together and changes the course of the brand forever. So bend those knees, mount that crab, get rid of that stupid disc and save it for next year, because it's time to find the 7th Toa. Be sure to watch the whole video, because there's a lot more to this story than you might think. Watching the Matoran's journey across the great island of Kini-Nui truly fills me with a sense of wanderlust, which you yourself can experience in the Oregon Trail, this video's sponsor. Not that version of the Oregon Trail. Could have been, but it's not. The classic game has been revamped and expanded into a wildly engaging modern experience with every bit of the charm of the original. The game is available cross-platform on Switch, Steam, Xbox Play Anywhere, and now on PlayStation 4 and 5. I've gotten completely wrapped up in the way that this game handles choice and decision making. You come across a broken down carriage in the road. Do you lend them supplies? Risk the help of your family to fix their wagon? Maybe your duty is to yourself. Maybe they're bandits, I don't know. And when things go wrong, the game is brutal. My priest got shot because someone left a loaded gun in the wagon and it went off. The game is constant high-risk decision-making, and though you may not encounter any Rahkshi or Bohrok on the trail, with the new Cowboys and Critters DLC, you might just as well encounter cryptids, as well as new journeys, characters, locations, mechanics, and classes. You can get the DLC for only $5 on release day, and until February 25th, PlayStation Plus users can get the Oregon Trail for 33% off. This is my favorite sponsor in a long time because it's an excuse to play a really fun and very unique game that's been decades in the making. Just click the link in the description to get the game and play it today cross-platform. It is totally worth it. Click the link. We talked about the Bohrok a lot in the last video, but this one should be a little bit more balanced regarding the different toys that came out for this year's product. Oh, for Christ's sake, it's the frickin' Bohrok again! 2003 started out with six new Bohrok sets. Sorry, did I say new? I meant the same. The toy's so nice they released it twice. Featuring silver parts, recolored limbs, and new tools, the Bohrok-Kal were not meant to come in swarms. Each Kal was a unique individual with new, non-elemental powers acting as a contingency in the event that the bug mommies were defeated.
New tools and one goal, to steal the powers of the Takanuva and restart the Bohrok swarms.
As soon as they enter the scene, they wreck the Takanuva, stealing their powers and embarrassing the Dirt One in unfathomable new ways using magnets. It's hardly a footnote in the overall story, but this section does introduce the Mask of Time, a mask that controls time, which Vakama just has, and gives to Tahu. He uses it, but it's very odd and only helps him in sort of a vague way, giving the Takanuva enough time to defeat the Bohrok-Kal using the power of BS the writers made up. This lineup does speak as a testament to the quality of this toy, and ultimately, of all the brands to release relatively unchanged recolors of existing figures, it's the least egregious when it comes to Lego. There's never really an issue with having more Lego pieces in new colors. The island holds a huge party to celebrate the victory of the Toa, putting the Matoran through puberty, putting consonants in their names to avoid a lawsuit, and rebuilding them into new, more powerful children. They look deeply less cute than the McDonald's designs, but I guess that's important because they actually sold these designs in stores. Hey, I bet these new designs will look pretty cool in the animated movie that's coming out. Oh God, what are those? No! Oh! Alright, let's calm down. Those designs are terrifying and gross, but they're probably the most accurate possible visualizations of the Matoran universe inhabitants. These characters are supposed to be biomechanical, so giving them muscle was a lore-accurate choice compared to just animating the toys like all prior media had done. They gave them hands so they can do fist bumps!
Well done!
Unfortunately, as a result of all of that prior media, 5-year-old me had no idea that they weren't just robots, so it was deeply uncanny to look at Jala's little ab pouch. Let's actually talk about the movie, talk about the corresponding toys as they appear, and see what we can piece together about this year of Bionicle overall. The movie begins with the assumption that you're rewatching it, which I resent, but fair.
Listen again to our legend of the Bionicle.
Then we kick off with a history lesson from some lying old fart, all of a sudden talking about the 3 virtues: unity, duty, destiny. The hell does that mean? I thought Bionicle was about knocking masks off and stuff. There's no mystical great spirit controls my destiny. Anyway, we cut to this child, Jala, searching the city of Takua alone for his friend.
Takua! 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 That's why they call me Takua!
We didn't talk about Jala in the previous videos, but he's introduced as the captain of the guard in the Kini-Nui online game. He becomes unlikely friends with Takua, our protagonist, over the course of the Bohrok animations. He's also one of the Matoran figures, cause yeah, these McDonald's characters are actually gonna come up a lot. They're shockingly relevant to the entire franchise. We find my beautiful, perfect boy Takua deep underground, guckoing around and grinding out, accidentally discovering a golden mask that shines in Takua's hands. Yada yada, there's some danger, Tahu shows up and looks terrifying, and then they both
Take a closer look at those balls!
Oh my god! Oh jeez, oh my god!
The way Tahu treats Takua is rather like an adult to a child. Respectful, but with a sort of coy authority. He's curious about the mask, but ultimately, Toa Tahu has his priorities straight.
This could be important. Take it to Taragavakama. After you've won the Coley match.
There's no time for curiosity when there's extreme sports to do! They return home just in time for the big Coley match, where we meet several Matoran ready to engage in the greatest fictional sport ever created. Not you! 2003's small set lineup was all about Coley. Pairs of Matoran forming 3 teams. 2 of these duos are featured in this very movie. Huki, one of the Matoran, and Hafu, a member of the Chroniclers Company and one of only 2 Matoran-style figures to not be distributed by McDonald's. Then there's the Ga-Korans, Maku, who's another Matoran, and Holly, who we'll talk about more later. She's very relevant. And then lastly, a Co-Koran team not featured in the movie, Kopik and Matoro. What's odd is that this is the first and last Bionicle wave of 6 to not represent all 6 main elements. The Tomatoran team was released in bigger sets that we'll talk about later, but screw the Lamatorans, I guess. They get penalized for all of the getting mind controlled last year. And maybe the Ono Matorans got shafted because Napuru was the only Matoran in the previous year. We're focusing on all the wrong things. What does any of this have to do with sports? What even is Coley anyway?
And now, a brief history of Coley. Coley first appeared in the Game Boy game Quest for the Toa as a terrible little minigame about kicking rocks into goals. But in the Kini-Nui online game, Coley was a major plot point as we unraveled the mystery surrounding infected Coley balls, distributed by a psychopathic little son of a We also meet Huki as Pokoro's star Coley player. This guy, who seems to really care about Maku, this girl. But Greg Farsty assures us that this means nothing.
In the Bohrok animations, Huki saves Maku from a Bohrok attack using a fishing pole, thus inspiring the Matoran of Mata-Nui to start using sticks to play Koli during the celebrations. Huki and Maku have a really cute moment together, and Holly and Jala also form a connection as they run off to frolic together. Greg Farshchi does not appreciate this, and insists that these dynamics are not romantic because love is not canon to the Matoran universe. Then we finally get the sequel to the Mata-Nui online game, which stars Holly herself after the Bohrok-Kal attacks in her new, rebuilt form. Just like the first game, you wander around, play Koli, farm seaweed, engage in capitalism, play Koli, do more capitalism, play Koli again, walk around some more. Play Koli again. Oh wait, this is nothing like the first game. Oh, this sucks. I couldn't tell you why, but Koli seemed really important to LEGO in 2003, which is why all of these toys are centered around Koli. They come with Koli sticks, and their new forms are built like this so they can swing their sticks and hit the included Koli ball? Oh, come on! All that Koli hype, and the toys come with a puck? How are we supposed to play Koli with the toys if there isn't even a ball?
Play well!
Play well? More like cry well if you think these toys are gonna work on carpet. Explain! LEGO, explain! I guess you can grab the old Pohatu rock and play old Koli, but... Oh, I don't feel so good. Ow. Anyway, the Takorans lose the Koli match to the Flash game's protagonist, which is neat, but it's only because Takua tries to show off with his special move that nearly kills the Turaga. Jala is such a cool, supportive guy, encouraging Takua to do his special move.
Try your new move.
Of course! It's what the audience came for!
Even Holly is supportive after the fact, despite the attempted Turaga side.
Good effort, Takua. Nice move back there.
Pretty much everyone but the Toa are really nice and chill to each other, which is a rarity in kids' shows. Jala and Holly actually flirt a little bit. I mean, banter!
Nice save!
Not bad.
Nothing gets by the captain of the guard. Unless he wishes it.
I'll keep that in mind.
They banter. Just normal, friendly, banter. Don't think about the featurettes! Don't think about it!
I know she likes Jala, but he never wants to talk about that.
Jala accidentally reveals the Mask of Light to the crowd, and after a playful back and forth of avoiding responsibilities, Takua shines the mask on Jala. When it's then revealed that the mask belongs to a mysterious 7th Toa, everyone thinks that Jala is the chosen herald destined to find them. As a kid, the idea of a 7th Toa was exhilarating. After 2 years of the same Toa team, I thought it would be just those 6 Toa forever, but a 7th? Impossible! The thought of looking up at a new Toa, just as mysterious and potentially just as scary as Tahu in the Flash animations, what a thrilling premise. But even before the movie, the marketing was all about the 7th Toa. Who was it? What's his deal? The Toa of Light? How would you even do extreme sports with light?
I would never dream about living in a world without light.
Yes, that would be dark.
In contrast, Takua's reaction to the whole thing really confused me. Why wouldn't he take credit for finding the mask? Why shirk the potential reward and shove it onto Jala, when he just wants credit to go where credit is due?
We will have another great chapter to add to our wall.
Yes, Turaga. It will be full of Jala's brave deeds.
Takua isn't a particularly cowardly character. His curiosity has pushed him into countless dangerous situations before. So what is it about this specific quest that he fears so much? Why doesn't he want to be the Herald? Just what is Takua trying to run away from? I mean, come on, this child even has the gall to mock this cross-wired freak during important exposition.
Do not take your journey lightly.
Little baby man, little baby man, little baby man.
The Taumatorans set out to follow the light of the mask and search for the seventh Toa. But 2003 wasn't all Bohrok and Matoran. A new foe lurks in the dark. The spawn of Makuta himself. Far fewer in number, but far darker, more malevolent, and more terrifying than anything we've seen before. What does it take to threaten the Toanuva? What gimmicks, what terrible weapons and awful powers could be more dangerous than the Bohrok and the Bohrok-Kal? No. Oh god, it can't be. They wouldn't. I thought they would never. This was game-changing. No, life-changing. Bionicles had never had knees before, sure, but these guys didn't just have legs with knees. Their bodies are 70% legs. The poses the Rahkshi are capable of, the variety of intimidating stances, the way their hunched forms tower over the Toanuva, they were frickin' scary. They occupied the same place in my head as Darth Maul, with their spiked heads and double-sided stabs. The Bohrok managed to be intimidating via function, so what kind of action gimmicks do the Rahkshi have? Well, similarly to the Bohrok, they are powered by rubber slugs called Krata. Not Krana, Krata, with 2 A's. The Krata are the sons of Makuta, created out of his very own antidermis. What's antidermis? I don't know, go read the Ignition arc. But basically they function the same as the Bohrok, with the little rubber slug controlling the big mecha robot armor. They kinda rattle around in this little back chamber, which I think is pretty cool and spooky. You can smack down on the Rahkshi's head to fling the Krata out, which might be supposed to be sort of like the Bohrok gimmick with the meh, but the Krata can't take over a Toa like the Krana could. You can put them on their face, but it doesn't work like that. However, in the lore, the Krata are actually responsible for infecting the masks of the Rahi in the very first year, so you could say that they were responsible for the very first Liwa infection. Neat callback. Their gear mechanism lets them wiggle their staffs around, but it's not strong enough to knock off a Toa's mask, nor is a Toa really powerful enough to knock off a Krata by hitting a Rahkshi's head down. They don't turn into balls, but posing them like this indicates that they're in flight mode, where they fly, but really it's just a pose.
They fly now? They fly now!
I don't know what it is about this pose that indicates flight, which makes it seem kind of dumb in hindsight, but this really worked for me as a kid. I was constantly taking them in and out of flight mode when I played with them, just like a Transformer. They were clearly going for the same structure of villain as the Bohrok, even down to selling the little rubber goobers as collectibles, but in rad canisters this time. But it is altogether unfortunate that the gimmicks don't imply the same kind of dominance that the Bohrok's play features did, making it a sort of form over function type release. But oh, the form. Not only are they the most legit action figures in the line thus far, they tower over the Toanuva in both the movie and the toys. The height difference is enough to make the Toa look like little baby boys, severely outmatched and out-articulated. That alone was enough to sell me on the Rahkshi being a big deal threat. The cumulative effect of the Rahkshi's appearance and abilities is fear, shown time and time again as Takua and Jala encounter the creatures throughout their adventure.
Anger.
Restlessly, they are hunted by the Rahkshi, trying to stop the seventh Toa from ever arriving. One of the Rahkshi literally has a fear gun. Listen now to the most terrifying sound effect in all of child's media. The Toa struggle to hold their own in pretty much every encounter against the Rahkshi, as their cities are destroyed, their strength is sapped, and Liwa gets frickin' mind controlled. Oh, wait, no, it isn't Liwa this time? Tahu gets infected this time? It's about time you stop flipping and pick up some slack around here, sir. Oh my god. Oh my god, stop flipping! Kopaka is the only Toa that seems particularly capable against the Rahkshi. He holds his own for a shockingly long time, does a little bit of trolling, then fully bodies all three of them with his elemental powers, all while protecting two Matoran.
Rahkshi, washed and chill.
And then he gives some really good advice to Takua.
Good moves.
Even I get lucky sometimes.
Not luck. It's what you do that makes a hero.
We'll talk about this line later. Overall, the dynamics between the Toa are pretty well executed, even though some lines are a bit much.
I think my brother is afraid of having his fire extinguished.
Sister, against me you'd be nothing but steam. Hot air, as they say.
We'll summon the Toa to find them.
Don't trouble the others, sister. I'll see to their safety myself.
No, Tahu, no!
Gali talks to Tahu like he's a dog eating a grape, but either way, they feel like people with history and experience, even as they squabble like gecko birds over a berry. I quite like this interaction specifically between Tahu and the Dirt One.
Who can fathom the wisdom of Matanui? I am simply happy to take good news to the north.
You travel with Gali?
No, she has gone to ponder the great thoughts.
Talking about travel as something consequential, saying the North rather than just Pokoro, is a subtle writing choice, but it makes the world feel tangible and the island feel large and broad. I hate that they changed the look of our bottom-heavy king, but the sheer masculine bro energy between him and Onua is fantastic.
It seems bashing granite is treating you well.
Pohoto! Look around you. Mining has never been better. Oh, you should join me at it sometime. Try doing a real job. Say, how goes the carving?
Beyond just the Toa, the writing for Jala and Takua is really fantastic. They actually act like best friends who mess with each other and act like dorks.
Stop. Get off of it!
What?
Jala in particular is such a good friend. He's only going on this quest in the first place because he's supportive of Takua. The quest needs to get done, Takua needs to be the one who finds the 7th Toa, but he isn't ready to come out yet, and Jala isn't gonna force him until he's ready. If you can't tell, I'm struggling to not make this video a queer reading of Bionicle the Mask of Light. I could, but that's not this video. My point is, Jala is great. Being a protagonist, he came in one of the year's 4 Titan sets. Titan sets being stuff like the Exo Toa, Kodak and Gaddock, and 2001's Rahi. In fact, Jala comes with a Rahi, a gecko bird given to them by Toa Liwa after he rescues them from a bear. A scene where Jala is completely ready to kill a bear with a knife, but also one that demonstrates the film's incredible dedication to continuity.
Ever windfly a gecko bird?
I've been a second, but I never flown one myself.
It's true. In the Matanui Online game, Takua did indeed fly as a second on a gecko bird. It's a whole mini-game. They really went to great efforts to make sure that this Takua and this Jala are the same as this Takua and this Jala. I don't have that set though, so let's take a look at Takua's set. Check out this crab! She's a marvel of LEGO engineering that I can't even begin to describe, you just have to look at it. These Titan sets are really the last bastion of Bionicle's elaborate Technic creature builds. Not to say later Titan sets don't have Technic construction, but the introduction of knees ushers in a shift towards a full focus on action figure play and posability that only increases year by year from here on out. And it's a shame, because I really love builds like these. They add a depth of complexity to the toy line that a young kid really can't replicate on their own, all while creating an enviable wow factor. Maybe that's a bad thing compared to the infinite replicability of action figure builds, something that the community primarily does now, but I think something important was lost when it went away. Puku is a good dog. Look at her, licking the... In a movie with Bionicles as meaty as these, why couldn't Puku have a normal tongue? Whatever, it's also just really cool to finally have a Takua toy after he's shown up in so many pieces of Bionicle media. Though I don't really like this Matoran build a lot, and they keep getting his feet wrong. His online game look has yellow feet, then they gave him blue feet in his rebuilt form, which matches the toy, and then red feet in the movie. Stop changing your shoes, my guy! Despite Puku and Jala's support, Takua struggles with the quest. He really doesn't want to take it seriously. He wants to stop and play with some glowing leaves, ignoring his duty in favor of fun. And in his most childish moment yet, that's when the Makuta speaks to him.
Give me your lunch money, Takua.
I know who you are. I'm not afraid.
Like hell you aren't. I'm a grown man. You're a little boy. A little boy.
I might be a scared baby boy, but Jala will find the seventh Toa.
He's also a child. I'll literally kill your whole family if you don't give me your lunch money.
I know you are, but what am I?
That doesn't even make sense. Are you even
La
paying
la
attention
la la
to
la
what
la,
I'm saying?
can't hear you, ah!
Oh my god, you are 5.
Makuta wants Takua to give in to his childish impulses, to run away from what must be done, to believe that the problems facing the island are not his problems to solve. This interaction with Jala in the jungle really shows what I'm talking about.
Is there any place on Mata-Nui where you do feel at home?
I don't complain about Takuro.
But you wander off every chance you get looking for stories. What about your story?
I don't have a story.
Only because you won't stand still long enough to make one. We all have a destiny, you know.
You know me, always different.
Takua doesn't want to have a story, because stories are about change, stories are about growth, and he wants to stay the same. The best way for him to save everyone, according to Makuta, is to tap out and leave the responsibility to the adults.
Bring me the mask, Takua. Bring it to me, and you won't lose your friend.
Takua refuses Makuta's offer, but he doesn't accept his own path either.
Oh, that's just great. First you stick me with your duty, and then you ditch me?
My duty is to myself. I quit! Just take the mask and go!
Believing that maturity can't catch him if he runs fast enough, Takua abandons his quest and leaves Jala to find the seventh Toa alone. But even in failing this test of unity, Destiny is not going to let Takua off the hook so easily. The Rahkshi don't chase down the Mask of Light as everyone was suspecting. Instead, a new trio chases Takua himself to Onukoro, which gets completely leveled in the fight with the Toa. But rather than running away this time, Takua finally decides that enough is enough, rushing back in to defeat the Coven of Demon Slug robots with his golf club. Well, at least his heart is in the right place.
Rahkshi!
No!
Anger.
He barely escapes with the help of Liwa, who apparently can fly with an entire crab on his back. I take back all of my Liwa slander earlier. This guy frickin' rocks when he isn't getting ratatouille'd by rare collectibles. Takua barely escapes.
Keep going. Keep going. Come on.
I have no destiny!
What kills the dinosaurs? There is age!
In just the nick of time, Takua arrives to save Jala, and the two finally reach their destination, the very center of the island, Kini-Nui. entrance to the tunnels beneath Mata-Nui, where the Makuta lies. Suddenly the gang's all here. Everyone's doing elemental things and using their powers together, and Anu is actually holding his chainsaws for like half a second in the background. They systematically kill the Rahkshi in horrible ways with the power of friendship, and oh yeah, Tahu's back, by the way. They waterboarded him earlier to snap him out of his temper tantrum before Vakama could give him a DUI. The only Rahkshi that survives is Turok. Yes, the Rahkshi have names. Why wouldn't they? The Makuta loves his terrible boys, and he gives them all names. He even named the brown one after his favorite kind of cookware. Anyway, Jala shouts, "Get down, Mr. President," and takes a fear bullet for Takua, dies, then Takua puts on the Mask of Light over his mask and turns into the 7th Toa. Oh, hang on, wait a second. Hang on. What do you mean Takua is the 7th Toa? Okay, so you see, the Mask of Light doesn't turn you into the 7th Toa. Takua was the 7th Toa. The hints were there all along. The mask always lit up when Takua was holding it. The Rahkshi were always chasing him. He was destined to become the 7th Toa the entire time, and deep down he knew it the entire time.
You know me, always different.
Makuta even says as much when he's menacing the poor lad.
Even my shadows cannot hide your fear. Or the truth.
What truth?
That you will not find the 7th Toa. And deep down, you know it.
He's right. Takua won't find the 7th Toa, and he knows it. He's going to become the 7th Toa. And that is what Takua has been running away from this entire time. Not danger, not adventure, but responsibility. Takua has seen what the Toa do more than any other Matoran. He's seen them fight and struggle, always dedicated to their duty. He knows that when you become a Toa, your life can no longer be wandering and playing. When Jala is dying, Takua runs over and says, "I'm supposed to make the sacrifice." He's known he would have to sacrifice something, and to Takua, becoming a Toa is that sacrifice. Not a power trip, not something to be desired or sought, but cold, hard responsibility. Like a Spider-Man! Hey, New York City, baby! Pizza, baby!
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Jala says this, basically confirming Takua's destiny.
You know who you are. You were always different.
He can't deny it any longer. Peter Pan has to grow up. And he does. Then he blasts Turok with a laser, thus killing him. Takanuva also came out as a Titan set, literally the only new Toa in 2003, which is a massive breach of format. No canister, but instead a big speeder made out of Rahkshi corpses. Let me just put a worm in my car and hope it'll GPS navigate me to wherever I find the devil. This thing was cool, but I think it lasted about 5 seconds before it got disassembled for parts. Vehicles like this ended up being a huge part of the toy line a few years after this, but it was quite the oddity at the time. Personally, I think if they just sold Takanuva in a canister, it probably would have been like the hottest Christmas toy in 2003, but whatever, what do I know? I just made a video about it is all. The figure itself has a normal Toanuva build, but with gold armor, gold mask, and a uniquely strange mask at that. I've talked a lot in previous videos about how the first 2 years of Bionicle enforced the power dynamics of its story with the mechanics of its toys, naturally creating the same play pattern in the toys as you see in the media. This gimmick-based power scaling is lacking in the Rahkshi, apart from their size. So what makes Takanuva feel as strong as the story implies he is? Takanuva's mask isn't held on by a stud. He's got a full axle to attach his mask, making it impossible to disable him the same way as the Toanuva. That might seem like a small change, but back when masks were the main gimmick of the toy line, this changed everything. It was impossible to play with a Toa for long without their mask popping off or skewing, which made Takanuva seem strong as hell.
I can do this all day.
Still doesn't have knees, though. Can't dance without knees, kid. So they put Jala's dead face on the front of the corpse bike, and Takanuva rushes underground to face the Makuta. Oh, hang on, wait. Okay, it's fine. Holly had it. She was just in there and also hit the wall, but she's fine. Anyway, Takanuva's ready to physically fight the Makuta to the death to awaken Mata-Nui, which is now the goal for some reason, even though it was never mentioned before that. I guess it was in the prophecy.
Toa of light, now so bold. But at heart, you are still just Takua.
Oh, and then Makuta dead names him and challenges him to a deadly game of Koli, trying his hardest to prove that trans people shouldn't be allowed to play sports. The Koli game is kinda stupid. On one hand, it's an excuse to avoid imitatable violence, but it does show Takanuva's character growth. In the very beginning, Takua was avoiding the Koli game, avoiding his responsibility, but now he fights with all his spirit. He even does his little flippy move and succeeds this time. Makuta, the villain of the entire franchise thus far, finally gets a real toy. This isn't his true form, of course, because he's actually formless, and this is just a mechanical body filled with green power. But it's pretty cool to see. Why does this toy and this design look nothing alike, the masks especially? Well, the people making the movie only had a prototype to work with, and the prototype was made with a painted black mask of time and an Onua mask on top of each other. But either way, both masks are supposed to be the Mask of Shadows, the Krakan, a unique mask that gives the user shadow powers like Suck Blood, Dark Teleport, Mist Form, Unholy Flame Grapple Hook. It's a Tumblr post. I actually really like the Makuta build. His entire torso swings in a fearsome arc, and the use of Rahkshi pieces makes him feel very connected to his terrible boys. Makuta's mask is also connected by an axle, making it impossible to knock off. Takanuva tries his best with a big Koli ball hit, but when that doesn't work, bro jumps onto his face and tries to pull it off, which is probably not intentional, but it's a hilarious mirror to the play pattern. Like, yeah, I guess this is how you'd have to do it. I have to assume Makuta would have done the same thing to Takanuva if he'd won, and he... Actually, hang on. Before we finish the story, I've gotta say, I flippin' loved this movie as a kid. Seeing Takua turn into the hero had me elated, cause Takua was me. I played as him. I'd seen the entire story through his eyes, and to see him become a Toa and fight evil sort of changed something for me. Not immediately, mind you. I was 5 at the time. I didn't have any big revelations at 5, but just a few years later, this movie became more important to me than I ever thought it would be. In 2005, everything was changing in my life. We'd lived in the same house in Georgia since I'd been born, but when my father got a job offer in Texas, it was a bit too good to pass up. A few days before the move, we were at dinner with a bunch of my dad's friends, a group of funny, witty, geeky comic shop guys. This was one of the first times I had ever been sat at the adults' table, and I wanted to be a part of it so desperately. I tried to talk, but I couldn't really get my voice any louder than the sound of the forks on plates, much less as loud as the adults. My mom noticed, and she leaned down to me and said, "One day, you'll be grown up at the same time as everyone else here." I'd always thought that when I grew up, everyone else would be old men, but no, we'd all be adults at the same time. And honestly, the thought was sort of terrifying. I didn't just have to be as smart as the dumb kids around me. I actually had to catch up, if I ever wanted to really talk to these people. And yet, in that moment, I thought about Takua, growing up, joining the Toa who just earlier had been saving his life, suddenly an equal with them. And suddenly the thought of growing up wasn't quite so scary. In fact, that's when I knew what kind of adult I wanted to be, and I knew that I'd have to start learning soon. After that, we moved. We left behind the only home I had ever known, which is exactly what happens in the movie. There's some more nonsense that happens after the Makuta fight, but it's not really important. Go watch it if you want to know, it's good. But after it all, with their villages destroyed, their home gone, they open a door and find a new home to protect. We grow up waiting, searching for the person or the thing that's going to solve all of our problems. But in the end, all you find is yourself, and the weight of the world will fall on your shoulders someday.
All this just to discover who I am?
You have finally found your own story, and still you seek answers. The path you walked was not to be here, but in here.
Takua might have been destined to become the 7th Toa, but it wasn't being a Toa. It wasn't growing up that he was afraid of. It was the responsibility that comes with it. Everyone is destined to grow up. It'll happen whether you want it to or not.
Not luck. It's what you do that makes a hero.
It is my duty to make the world a better place, and we all have to work together to make that happen. Unity, duty, destiny. This is JettKuso, and I'll see you next time. Oh my goodness, this video was such a video to make, and I could not have done it without my patrons over on patreon.com/JettKuso. Thank you to my diamond patrons Immortal Blank, LucidLana, Chooka Bear, Razu Ryan, and Tenzin Tseyang. My Titan patrons SheVitus, Sierra107, GUSANO, plecopleco, and Banana Jones. My hyper patrons Gavin Greenlee, David, Treble, DuskAnthro, Mudorios, and now new hyper patron Orio. And, oh my god, thank you, new base patrons Johnny Eat World and Daniel Michaud, Failboat himself, famous 2nd place Bakugan winner. Thank you so much for joining and supporting the channel. If you would like to do the same, help me make more videos, longer videos, crazier videos, please check out my Patreon. It would be amazing to have your support. Thank you so much.